Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Silver Slayer. Thanks for tuning in and welcome. Precious metals stole the show. They are definitely the topic of discussion in the investing world, and for obvious reasons. Gold and silver have been stabilizing. Precious metals across the board are in the green. And this is for one obvious reason: a weaker dollar. Now, this article is talking more post election, and it's going to give some insight on where things will go from here. But we still have a lot to talk about. In my last video, I literally can prove that silver will be a lot higher, a lot sooner than people are expecting. And that's vital information to know, because if you think you have all this time to buy $25 silver, you might not. And that is vital for our stacking strategy. If you missed that video, I highly recommend, urge you to watch that, because I covered 5-6 different articles where charts are literally showing that silver is about to take off, and it's for obvious reasons. And they compare it to 2008, and they even give information about not only the $3 trillion stimulus package, but also a $10 billion package McKinsey is talking about, which could send the dollar to the ground, which would also be extremely bullish. So anyways, that's the last video. Go check that out. Now, this one's talking more about after things settle down. So let's jump into it. U.S. post-election. The gold and silver markets have started the week on a roller coaster, but both have rallied on Thursday and early Friday. Gold risen to $1,960, silver $25.80. The U.S. election results are still uncertain, and that's why there's uncertain prices, with no outcome, or with the outcome down to 4 states. Biden needs 6 electoral votes to secure the presidency, while Trump trails behind, needs 54 additional electoral votes. The Trump campaign has filed lawsuits in several states, but the legal efforts repeatedly failed to gain traction or affect significantly enough numbers to votes, if any, in key states and protesters in swing states. So the final count in the Senate House races are also still unknown. The latest estimates predict a Biden presidency with a Republican majority in the Senate and Democrat majority in the House. When analyzing the gold and silver markets, especially when putting our assumptions for the variables in our forecast together, we carefully weigh the possibilities of different political and economic outcomes. That's why this article is so important. They're predicting the different outcomes and the outcomes for these scenarios, and also how you should be investing during them. That's why I chose this article. It's a 5-page PDF file. And this stuff is vital. If you're an investor in the precious metals world, you gotta be fed this type of information. You gotta know this stuff. That's why, I'm not telling you guys just to subscribe because I want a bigger subscriber count. No, I'm telling you to subscribe because on a day-to-day basis, I'm covering this type of information that it's vital to know. You have to know this stuff. You can't, if you're not understanding, or if you're not comprehending, or if you're not analyzing this type of information, you're investing blindly into a market that definitely needs some strategy. Now, when analyzing gold and silver markets, especially when putting our assumptions for the variables in our forecast, the variables are important. The unknown variables are even more important. A lot of times, things will show up that we had no idea, no clue about. We couldn't have expected. Just like last year, all the price forecasts were extremely way off because nobody could have predicted there would be a global pandemic, right? We did know the presidential election, so I was saying last year, 2020, or the end of 2020, would be pretty bullish, but who could have guessed there would be a global pandemic to throw things even crazier? Now, we start with a breakdown of gold and silver returns by political party, Democrats versus Republicans. This chart shows that the 4-year average return while a Democrat president holds office is higher than the average return when a Republican president holds office. And this goes back to 1953, when the Eisenhower administration. So, however, by removing the 1980 peak, the gold returns under Republican presidents becomes higher, while silver returns remains higher under a Democratic president. Figure 4 breaks down the annual return for gold and silver into 4-year terms of the U.S. president. For example, Trump was first elected in November 2016, but his first year as president didn't start until January 20th, which makes Trump's first year as president from January 20th, 2017 to January 19th. Year 2 was from January 22nd, 2018 to January 22nd, 2019. Year 3, year 4. The analysis counts second presidential term the same way using years 1 to 4. In order to get a clearer picture of the gold and silver price cycles, we have removed the 1980 peak from the analysis. Figure 4 shows that year 1 and 2 are strong years for the gold and silver price, with 3 starting trail off and 4 the weakest. So this is interesting information that we can tell comparing gold to silver. Usually these types of charts compare, precious metals, gold and silver together with like stocks or something else. But to compare it this detailed to gold versus silver instead of putting them in one category is extremely crucial information, especially if we're trying to decide which is the better investment. Right now, there's a lot of new eyes, a lot of new people coming in, people that have never invested a single dollar in their entire life are turning to precious metals. People are understanding the severity here. They want to take control of their wealth. But imagine coming in to this market, right? Imagine being a newcomer in here. And if you are, let me know about this. Imagine coming in, hearing about precious metals, probably hearing about gold first because it is the mascot, right? But then you hear about this more affordable, cheaper, more profitable, but riskier little brother named silver. Which would you choose? There's so many articles, there's so many reasons for both, but which would you choose? Buy both? I mean, it's probably extremely confusing and probably overwhelming to decide. I mean, my name is Silver Slayer, not Gold Slayer, so there's obviously reasons why I choose silver, why I talk about silver, but they're both good investments, and that's the bottom line. Whether you're investing in a gold or silver, you're putting your money into something that holds its value, that has intrinsic value, that's been valuable for 5,000 years, and that always will. Over time, the dollar decreases in value. Over time, gold and silver increase in value. It's as simple as that. So you can see the charts right here. Gold returns by the presidential term without the 1980 peak. So you can see Republican, Democratic. You could see a lot of times it is Republican when, let's see, it doesn't show the year there, but that's, okay, so first presidency, first term through 1 through 4. And then you can see Democratic Party, and that's silver returns. So it goes down here, U.S. dollar returns, S&P 500, and that's what I was talking about. Usually charts show this, but they never show the gold versus silver. So it's interesting stuff. There are also factors that will also support higher gold and silver prices in the first year of the new administration, likely Biden, and that's because of these fiscal stimulus required at least 12 to 24 months. People are saying $2-3 trillion, but there's also this $10 trillion deal that they're talking about throwing in, which could completely destroy the dollar. And it's definitely difficult to implement, especially with the U.S. economy still $670 billion below its end of 2019 level and unemployment 10.7 million below its February 2020 levels. In addition to the fiscal stimulus package, Biden campaign are promises of increased spending or reduced cuts to many social programs. So things are going to get ugly for the dollar. Some of which include preventing cuts to Social Security, free college tuition for families with income under $125,000, improving public health care, both Affordable Care Act and Medicare, and increased spending to fight climate change. The dollar is going to be basically, what's the best word for it? Demolished. The dollar will be demolished. If the dollar already isn't in a bad state, then imagine how much worse things are going to get for the dollar. Obviously, this is good for the people, but from a financial standpoint, this is terrible for that. So I guess you can pick your poison. It's good for gold and silver, though. And that's the bottom line. And speaking of bottom line, our outlook for gold and silver remains bullish. And that's funny. That's literally what I was about to say, and that's what they say. The bottom line is, through all this, precious metals are going to come out on top, right? Many of the variables, lower U.S. dollar, increased monetary and fiscal stimulus, and low real interest rates will dominate the economic horizon for the coming years. Plus, there's an issue of growing deficits and debt that governments will need to finance. So, I honestly can't prove any more than this. Like, this is the most obvious proof that precious metals are by far the best investment. Because think about stocks during all this. Do you think stocks are going to do well if Biden wins? Do you honestly think that? Heck no. Gold and silver is blatantly the only solution, the only alternative. And if you cannot see that, then you shouldn't even be investing. Here's economic policies. Biden campaign. Minimum wage, $15. Funding up to 12 weeks of paid family leave in American workers. Social Security, college tuition for families that earn less than $125,000. Climate change, $1.7 trillion over 10 years. Affordable Care Act, Medicare eligibility age, Medicare is 60 instead of 65. Tax policies, trade policies, Federal Reserve, tweeting, commenting about an institution that requires independence to fulfill duties. So things are going to get interesting. The whole point is, though, I'm not trying to talk from a political standpoint. I could care less whether you're red or red or blue. I could care less. I could care less, honestly. Trump, Biden. I'm looking from an investing perspective, right? From an investing perspective, like I keep saying, no matter who wins, precious metals will come out on top. So you really shouldn't, if you're looking at this from a very egotistical, greedy standpoint, trying to hope that one person wins because it might make precious metals higher than the other, which is a terrible way to look at things. But even if you were, you would have nothing to worry about, because no matter who wins, gold and silver is going to do good. If you look at things that way, that's very demented. And I used to talk about that a lot. It's almost like gold and silver do better when the economy's in bad shape. It's like, so you don't want the economy to be in bad shape, but it will make your portfolio a lot more profitable. So like precious metals are in this weird category of like we're kind of betting that things are going to get worse. We don't hope they get worse, but we're kind of saying that they will. Or we're putting our money that things will, right? So it's this very interesting type of investment. That's why it's the rebellious investment. That's why it goes against the grain, is because we're kind of like we're throwing it out in there like yeah, you guys want things to get better, but I don't think they are. They're actually going to get a lot worse, and that's why we're not investing in the dollar, right? So anyways, I don't know. What do you think about all this? Do you think, and please don't come from a political standpoint, strictly investing. From an investing standpoint, what do you think about this? Do you think there's any chance that the dollar is going to hold some ground? Or do you think this just looks bad all over for fiat currency? And where do you think precious metals are going to head, not only just from the year standpoint, in the next 1 to 5 years? Once things settle down, then it's going to get interesting, because that's when the money starts getting spent. So even right now, once there's a lot of fear and uncertainty, people choose safe haven. Even after that settles down, that's when the money starts going into the economy, which is also going to boost precious metals. So we have an interesting situation here, a very profitable, bullish, interesting situation. And I hope you guys really understand how crucial it is to own gold and silver if you want to make some money. If you want to protect your wealth, your hard-earned dollars, then this is definitely the answer. And this isn't coming from a speculation, wear my tinfoil hat theory. This is pretty obvious stuff. I mean, there's countless numbers of articles and people investing into it, and they know what they're doing. This isn't just a random hope shot of throwing this out there and hoping it sticks. No, this is real information and real facts. This is real charts showing the historical patterns, and these are real numbers that are going to be thrown out there. And we know that there's a direct correlation to a weaker dollar and higher gold and silver prices. I mean, the proof is in the pudding. So anyways, I think I'm going to wrap this video up here. Like I said, make sure you go check out that video I posted earlier. That video has so much proof, so many articles, very well stated points, just proof that things are going to get extremely bullish for gold and silver. I loved this article as well because it did compare the two. If you want to check out this link and then you want to go over it further, I kind of summarize stuff because I don't want my videos to be too long. But if you are deciding between gold and silver and you want to kind of see, the outcomes and whoever candidate A or B wins, what it would do to your portfolio or your investment if you choose gold or silver, go ahead. The link's in the description. So anyways, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. If you thought this video was educational, informational, or at least entertaining, make sure to smash that like button. I post daily videos. Thanks for tuning in, This was Silver Slayer. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.